The news broke just after midnight, the kind of story that makes the whole of Hollywood stop scrolling. Chris Martin proposes to Dakota Johnson again. Ring. The headline lit up every entertainment feed within minutes. The accompanying photo showed a glowing Dakota, her hand gently resting on Chris's chest as a diamond ring shimmered under candlelight. They were at his Malibu home, surrounded by friends and a few Coldplay bandmates. Soft music, champagne, laughter. It was meant to be the perfect scene. But for many, the question wasn't what happened. It was why now? Just 2 years earlier, Chris and Dakota had called off their first engagement. Rumors at the time spoke of incompatibility, conflicting priorities, and even a controlling atmosphere. And now, suddenly, he had proposed again, and she said yes. The internet was torn. Some called it a second chance at love. Others said it felt too soon, too staged. But among the noise, one voice, quiet but unmistakable, cut through the chaos. It was Jamie Dornan. During a London interview promoting his new project, a journalist casually asked if he had seen the news about Chris and Dakota. Jamie paused, his usual calm demeanor shifting ever so slightly. He smiled faintly, but his eyes didn't match the smile. "Yeah," he said, "I've seen it. I just hope she knows what she's walking into this time." The interviewer froze. The tone wasn't playful, not teasing. It carried the weight of someone who had seen too much, someone who wasn't ready to pretend everything was fine. Within hours, his words spread like wildfire. Headlines screamed. Jamie Dornan warns Dakota Johnson after Chris Martin's proposal. What does Jamie know that we don't? It wasn't long before the entire internet was dissecting every syllable. Was it jealousy, concern, or something else? Something darker? The truth was, Jamie hadn't spoken about Dakota in years. They had moved in separate directions, both professionally and personally, but their history, that deep, quiet connection forged during years of shared vulnerability, never fully disappeared. Those who knew them both said there was still an unspoken understanding between them, a bond that didn't fade even when time and fame pulled them apart. So, when Jamie spoke those few words, the world noticed. One entertainment insider told People, "Jamie's not the type to comment on anyone's personal life, especially Dakota's. The fact that he said anything at all means something must have really bothered him about this situation." Back in Los Angeles, the mood was entirely different. Chris was all smiles, showing off the engagement ring during a private dinner. "She said yes again," he told friends, laughing. "This time, forever." But not everyone was convinced. One guest described Dakota as happy but distant, smiling for the cameras but quieter than usual. Something felt off, the guest admitted later. She looked like she was trying to believe in the moment, not living it. That detail didn't reach the tabloids, but Jamie's words did. And they began to take on a life of their own. Talk shows debated them, podcasts analyzed them, fans defended or condemned him. Some said he was being protective, others accused him of bitterness. Still, there was something undeniably real in his tone, a note of warning that felt deeply personal. "He's not jealous," a source close to Jamie said. "He just knows how easily Dakota trusts people, and how often that trust has been taken advantage of." Meanwhile, Dakota remained silent. No interviews, no statements, not even a comment on her engagement post. Her Instagram photo of the ring, just a soft image of her hand resting against the ocean backdrop, carried the caption, "Love always finds a way." But under the post, fans flooded the comments. "Jamie tried to warn you. Please be careful this time. We just want you to be happy." Behind the glamour, there was a growing unease, not just among fans, but within Hollywood itself. Everyone remembered the first engagement, how quickly it ended, how suddenly Dakota vanished from public view for weeks afterward. And everyone remembered how, during that time, the only person she was seen with was Jamie Dornan. A friend of Dakota's, speaking anonymously to Variety, said, "Jamie was there for her when things fell apart the first time. He knows what she went through. Maybe that's why he's speaking up now, not as an ex, but as someone who still cares. And maybe that was what made his words sting so deeply. They didn't sound like gossip, they sounded like grief. As the lights of Malibu glowed and congratulations poured in from around the world, one man half a world away sat in quiet disbelief. Not because Dakota was engaged again, but because, deep down, he feared history was repeating itself. He didn't say it out of jealousy. He said it out of something more painful, experience. I just hope she knows what she's walking into this time. It wasn't a warning to the world. It was a plea. Whispered from someone who had once seen her broken and didn't want to see her that way again. In the days that followed, Jamie Dornan's words echoed through every corner of Hollywood. I just hope she knows what she's walking into this time. That sentence, quiet, cautious, protective, had now become the center of a media storm. Talk shows debated his intent, gossip blogs turned it into rivalry, and countless YouTube videos tried to decode what Jamie truly meant. But behind the noise, something deeper was stirring. Jamie hadn't spoken to Dakota Johnson in months, not since their last brief encounter at an awards after-party. But when he saw the headlines about Chris Martin's proposal, the familiar ache returned, the one he had buried years ago. Not jealousy, not longing, just worry. Because Jamie remembered how the first proposal ended. Back then, the world had seen only the smiles, the perfect couple, the effortless harmony between the Coldplay frontman and Hollywood's quiet sweetheart. But Jamie had seen the moments the cameras missed, Dakota retreating from public life, the cancelled interviews, the silence between her smiles. She's always been the kind of person who forgives too easily, Jamie once told a friend. She believes people can change. And maybe they can, but not everyone wants to. When Chris Martin reappeared in Dakota's life, claiming to have changed, many were skeptical. Jamie, however, stayed silent, until now. 2 nights after the engagement went public, Jamie agreed to appear on a podcast in London, a casual, long-form conversation about acting, fame, and the toll of public life. It wasn't meant to be about Dakota at all, but halfway through, the host brought her up. You've always spoken highly of Dakota Johnson, the host began carefully. Given the recent engagement news, do you want to say anything? Jamie paused, his hands clasped. The air seemed to tighten. Look, he said finally, his voice calm but deliberate. Dakota's one of the most genuine souls I've ever met. She deserves peace. I just hope she's getting it. The host hesitated. Do you think she will, with Chris? Jamie's jaw tightened slightly. Then, after a moment, I can't speak for him. But when someone breaks a person once, you don't get to call it love until you prove you won't do it again. That line was all it took. Within hours, clips from the interview exploded online. Fans and reporters dissected every frame, every word. Some accused Jamie of overstepping. Others hailed him as the only man brave enough to speak the truth. Meanwhile, across the ocean, Dakota was quietly trying to navigate her own chaos. Friends said she was torn, thrilled by Chris's renewed affection, yet haunted by the memories of what had come before. She wants to believe him, one insider told Variety. But there's this shadow of doubt that she can't quite shake, and Jamie's comments didn't help. When reporters caught up with Dakota outside a Los Angeles studio, she handled it with poise. Jamie and I go way back, she said gently. He's protective by nature. I know his heart's in the right place. But her eyes, as one journalist later described, looked like they were holding something back. The following week, Chris Martin finally broke his silence. At a charity gala in Malibu, a reporter asked him about Jamie's remarks. His smile faltered for a split second before he replied. I understand people care about Dakota. I love that about her. She inspires loyalty. But I'm not the villain in this story. Sometimes love just takes time to grow right. It was the kind of polished answer expected from a rock star, diplomatic, smooth, and safe. But not everyone was convinced. Behind the scenes, whispers grew louder. Industry insiders began talking about Jamie's knowledge of what happened during Dakota and Chris's breakup, rumors of manipulation, emotional distance, and broken promises. One anonymous source told The Hollywood Reporter, "Jamie isn't jealous, he's scared. He saw what she went through. He just doesn't want her walking back into the same pain, thinking it'll be different this time." And yet, Dakota's heart had always been her greatest strength, and her greatest weakness. She believed in redemption, in second chances, in the quiet hope that love, given another try, could finally heal instead of hurt. So, she said yes again. But Jamie couldn't silence the unease. In a private moment after the podcast, he confided to a close friend, "She thinks this time it's going to save her. I just don't want her to drown trying to fix him." Those words never made it to print. They were too personal, too raw. But they lingered, like a quiet echo beneath the glossy headlines and romantic photoshoots. Because, as much as the world wanted to believe in happy endings, Jamie knew better. He knew that love, real love, wasn't about grand gestures or diamond rings. It was about safety, consistency, truth. And sometimes, the hardest kind of love is the one that steps back and lets someone make their own mistake, even when you can see the storm coming. "I don't want her to walk into that again," Jamie had said. But she's always followed her heart, even when it breaks. And perhaps that's why, even as Chris and Dakota's engagement photos filled the internet, there was one image no one saw: a man sitting alone in a quiet London cafe, scrolling through the headlines, whispering under his breath, "Please, Dakota, don't let him break you again."